Thank you, Dennis. Thank you for having me to have this opportunity to talk to you guys about something that I'm very passionate about. Um, what I'm going to talk to you guys about today is what daydreaming, manifestations, and purpose all have to do with each other. So I'm going to start by telling you guys a little story. When I was like 18, 19 years old, I don't want to see myself while I talk, so I'm just going to do one little thing here. How do I do this? Hide self view. Okay. I don't want to see myself. Okay. Anyway, it's distracting. I'm like, ew, look at my hair. Okay. Focus. Hello, everybody. Okay. So when I was 18, 19 years old, my story was like my whole external circumstances were really messed up. You know, I kind of grew up in a family where I wasn't valued and saw worthiness. I had like a lot of issues with self-esteem, and the two people in my family who I loved the most and saw me the most died when I was 18. And that was horrible. And at that time, I found a love for music. And I felt like I was a nobody. You know, I did all the things, I did the cheering, I was at college, I did all the stuff, but I really felt like I was a nobody. But once I got into like rock and roll music, particularly Pearl Jam, I would go to these concerts and see Eddie Vedder on the stage commanding the audience, influencing the audience with like all positivity. I could see I could feel the love from everybody I could just feel everybody feeling what I felt. And I somehow knew in my heart of hearts that I could do that too, and that I wanted to do that. So I started daydreaming about being a rock star. And I had no worth, no nothing. So I didn't pursue anything at that point in time, but it felt good to me. It felt in my heart when I envisioned myself up there. I was like, I could totally do that, you know, like, but who am I to do that, right? I'm no Eddie Vedder. I don't have a voice like an angel, you know, if that's how you choose to see him. Um, but that burning in my heart stayed there. And what happened was I would daydream. I picked up a bass guitar, started to play some music with my friends. Again, I thought I sucked. I had no worthiness, all the things. So I was very reclusive about this, but I'd still daydream about being this rock star. And then all of a sudden, like that would happen. And then from like 18 to I'm gonna say 2000, so let's say 1992 to 2014. Okay. In between there were all of these steps that I took to all of these steps, all these opportunities came up for me to play music and be in front of people. I sang in the church folk mass. I was asked to sing with a friend of my brother's. My brother and I had a little band. We played the eighth grade dance, and we were huge in Garden City. Like, like I had all of these little moments that like keep that dream alive, even though it felt so far fetched, right? Um, at one point, I had an acoustic guitar, and then I started writing music. And I was writing music. I had an abusive first husband, and my first song that I wrote was about that relationship. And I played that song over and over and over, and I still play it, and it became so cathartic for me. And then I wrote another song and another song. All of these songs, they're not great songs, they're not rock star worthy songs, but they helped me get through times um, by sharing my story and reliving the experience in ways that I was really proud of. And I would sit in my living room playing to my dog and my imaginary audience, you know, and I would play my music. So this one of my brother's friends asked me to sing with him. Again, lacked worthiness. I did a couple open mics. It was very difficult. I had no, that's why I pushed Andy to do his open mics. I'm like, go do it. Because I didn't have anybody pushing me, you know, and I didn't push myself. So my brother's friend asked me if I wanted to sing with him. And I was like, yes, he was an amazing guitar player. He loved my songs. He took my songs and turned them into something amazing. And I sang them and we did open mics together. And I told him, I'm like, Paul, I always dreamed about putting a band together and being a rock star. And so he was like, well, if we're going to do a gig, we have to get musicians and we have to get demos made so we can tell the bar band, you know, bar, we know how to play. And we did. We pulled in some friends and I had the dream. I had the dream. I had the group of people and playing the music and doing the things. And then we played the gig. And there might have been 20 people at this bar. It was called the Trash Bar in Brooklyn. And I swear nothing went right. Everything, like my guitar strings broke before it even started. Like it was just like a big mess. We practiced like 3 times. Like it was whatever. But when I tell you that that thought of being a rock star, like it was done. Like that to me was the moment. And it ended at that point in time. That dream, that, that fantasy. And when I look back on it, and I look back from when the dream was planted to through that whole journey of wanting to become a rock star and taking all these opportunities that came, that I allowed myself to be in front of people, to play music, to write music, I realized that in that it was the journey was the whole purpose of the dream. It was not the culmination. It was not the end point because I was satisfied and I didn't even think about it. I was looking for a drummer. Like I was like, okay, I'm gonna put this together and do a drummer. And like the next day, like it like went away, like poof, it's on to the next. And really what I look back on now is that journey taught me and showed me what my purpose is. So, you hear the word manifestation a lot, right? And manifestation is like, I want to envision this thing like a daydream, and then I'm going to put it on a vision board and I'm going to journal about it and it's going to come to fruition. No, 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 no. It's not magic, as Dana always says. It ain't magic, people. What manifestation is the same thing as daydreaming, right? And I want you guys to think about a time when you were younger and you had a daydream. I want to be a parent. I want to have a dog someday. I want to have a hobby. What was a daydream that you had when you were younger that came to fruition? We all have them. We all have them. Even if you were a little kid dreaming of being an artist and then became an artist, like what like think about that. Think about the dream that you guys had. Think about the journey it took to get there and then what happened when it like came to fruition, when you felt like you achieved it or you arrived at that moment. And I'm going to ask you guys to share about it if you can, if you feel like it. But I also want you to think about, what are you dreaming about now? What are you dreaming about now? Because if you have the proof that you dreamt of something so outrageous and it came to fruition in one way, shape, or form that felt so satisfying, why wouldn't it happen now? Right? So my current dreams are as big and lofty as being a rock star in a stadium, commanding an audience with my beautiful, wonderful songs. But I have a dream that my company with Dana, our publishing company, becomes humanity's go-to resource for personal evolution. Humanities, not a couple people, not some people in New York, not some people over in the UK, humanity as a whole. I envision our company becoming this thing. And I envision Dana being on the world stage with her new curriculum for humanity. These are my dreams and my purpose is to share my stories authentically, openly, because I have taken, much like Seamus, I have taken so many of my stories and experiences and transmuted them, saw the purpose in them, learned from them, and I change on a daily because of how I transmute my experiences. And by me sharing these stories, by all of us sharing our stories, we learn from each other and go, oh, I could look at it that way. Oh, I could look at it that way. And it helps us all, grow together and learn together. So that's my purpose, is to be out there. That's why I do songwriting. That's why I write stories and books. That's why I have a publishing company. That's why my best friend is, an editor and or mouthpiece, if you will, because I want to fulfill my purpose. And I know, it was funny, I was this boy was flirting with me. And he was like, hey, you're kind of cute. I'm like, yeah, I know. And he was like, oh, and modest too. And I was like, modesty is for the unhealed. I know who I am. And we should all, it is our birthright to embrace our values, our purpose, who we are, why we're here. It is our birthright to know how awesome we are. And I know how awesome I am. And I know that the power that I have a light inside of me. I'm like a lighthouse on the shore. And there's the humanity at sea. And I am the lighthouse to be here to show you, come here. This is where it's at. I'm not the answer, but I've got, come. I'll help you see your light, and then you'll plant your lighthouse right next to mine, and we'll become brighter, the two lights together, and we'll pull everybody together. That's my goal, and that's my journey. And there are so many. I just gave you guys the rock star one. There have been so many more. But that particular journey, it was so long, and the daydream was so real that I was going to stand on that stage and have that feeling. And I had that feeling in all of those micro moments along the way, and learning what my purpose was, and finding value, and not being like, oh, but it's only 20 people in the room, not 40, like always everything was positive, everything was like exciting, because there were no expectations, right? So I just want to ask you guys to think about that dream that you had when you were younger. Think about what came to fruition, and how it made you feel, or what the experience and the journey taught you about who you are, and then what you're dreaming about now. And let's vocalize our dreams right now, because right now they're coming true. So I want to hear your big, hairy, audacious, crazy, I'm going to be a rock star dreams. And let's just like manifest the shit out of it.